So I'm seeing Donald at 290 today and Hillary at 248. I did analyze 112 polls. That's 13 more than yesterday. And those additional polls resulted in the difference. Differences were Colorado, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Clinton added half a point in Colorado, and that shifted it to her column. She added 8/10 of a point in Michigan, and that shifted it to her column. And Trump added almost half a point in Pennsylvania, and that switched Pennsylvania to red. Word of caution, the changes in Colorado and Michigan were influenced by public policy polling polls. That's a Democratic firm, but they have shown themselves to be a good pollster in the past. So I included them, but they could just as easily shift back tomorrow. Polls only. Today it's 283 to 255 for Clinton advantage. The only problem with that is it's because of North Carolina, where Clinton has a very slight edge of 1/10 of a percentage point based on the polling. And again, that's close. That's basically a tie. Anytime we have a tie and you have a candidate that is functioning as an incumbent, then you have to use an analysis that probably favors the challenger. There are some biases here that we have to factor in: the sample bias and the shy Trump voter bias. Those two biases combine to give Trump an advantage whenever there's a tie. If you want to learn more about that, you can click this link here. This link right here. And there's a good article explaining these biases. Next, we have the late breaking voters. That's another factor I used. That's a combination of the impact of the FBI reopening its investigation and the incumbency rule. The incumbency rule is any time an incumbent's not at 50 towards the end of an election, they're in trouble. I'm not using the 50% number because that wouldn't be fair with a strong third-party contingent, which we've seen in the polling with Johnson and Stein. So I'm putting that number at 47%. Conservative estimate. It's giving her the benefit of the doubt. That's assuming that Johnson and Stein will pull 6% of the vote, which they will not, at least not in most states. If she's at 47 or above, then I'm considering her safe. If she's not, then I'm considering her in trouble. Florida, big state. Trump's leading there in the poll averages. Anytime Trump's tied or ahead in the poll averages, I think it's safe to assume he's going to win the state. That's because of the sample bias, the shy voter bias, and the late breaking impact, which goes against the incumbent. For those reasons, I think Trump is comfortable in Florida, predicting 49.3% today, close to 50. For those who say, yeah, what about the big Latino turnout? The answer to that is simple. The flip side to the increased Latino turnout is the increased Caucasian turnout. That's really the strategy Trump's employing. There's going to be an increased white voter turnout that offsets the Latino turnout. And then that gets us to even or close to even if there's a slight advantage still for Democrats based on that increased Latino turnout. You then turn and look at black turnout, which is down by 16% roughly, is the number I'm hearing. And then also millennial turnout is down a lot. And those were not problems for Obama. So that is where this analysis basically resides. That's where it gets its credibility. I see Trump winning Florida. Ohio. Trump will probably take Ohio with more than 50%, and that's because he's up by 2 in the polls today. Anytime a challenger, particularly this challenger, who's had the entire force of the media attacking him throughout, anytime that challenger is holding fast and is leading the incumbent heading into an election, you can count on them to win that state. North Carolina, dead heat in North Carolina, same analysis applies. It's a dead heat there. There's going to be late breakers for Trump. There is a sample bias. There is a shy voter bias. Trump is safe in North Carolina. Take it to the bank. I have him 48.5%. Wisconsin. I have Hillary holding on to Wisconsin today, and that's because she's at 47%. I do think there's going to be a big shy voter bias in Wisconsin. You've got a lot of never Trumpers there, a lot of social pressure. the leaders of the conservative movement in Wisconsin, Charlie Sykes, Paul Ryan, et al. Those guys, they're creating a lot of never Trump momentum there, but that's dying this week, as we've seen in the polls. And I think it'll manifest itself in Wisconsin as well. That's why that 5-point lead that she has is not making her completely safe, but I do think it will hold off that late surge with Trump, and she'll hold Wisconsin. Iowa, Trump is safe there. He's up 2.5 points in the polls. I think he ends up with almost 51% on election day. Nevada, again, Trump's up in the polls in Nevada. It's close. Late breaking, the biases, the late breaking, I think it gives it to Trump. A lot of the pundits are saying, what about all the turnout in Clark County? Latino turnout is up. All true, but again, it's offset by the increase in the white vote, the Caucasian vote, and then you look to African American vote, and you look to millennial vote. Those are down. I think it's safe to assume that Trump will win Nevada based on that analysis. Again, if he's up in the polls, Trump is doing pretty well. You cannot trust analysis based on early vote turnout. It typically is not always a one-to-one correlation how it works out. Sometimes the Democrats do such a good job of get out the vote. They just don't have that many people who vote on election day. They've already voted already. So you have to look at the polls. That's why the polls are useful. It filters through the confusion that can come by looking at early vote. Arizona, Trump's up 3.8% in Arizona. That's going to be a blowout. I think he'll win the state by over 6 points. Colorado, close. Clinton's not at 47%, but there's a big third-party contingent there. And that's going to bring her number down to where she doesn't need to be quite as high to win the state. And I do think, Trump is just not very strong in Colorado just because it's more of a blue state. Not saying he's out of contention there. I don't think he is out of contention. I think there'll be a big late break for Trump. I do think there's a substantial sample bias, a substantial shy voter bias, but not enough to offset Clinton's strength there, considering that a lot of the votes are going to be peeled off to third parties. So I see Clinton winning with 47% of the vote. Pennsylvania goes into Trump's column today, and that's because the polls shifted a little bit, about half a point. It's close. It's a close call. You can see I've got Trump winning it by 0.2 percentage point. Clinton is at 46 in Pennsylvania. Here is the thing, though. There's very few Latinos, relatively speaking, in Pennsylvania. Clinton needs a big black vote in Pennsylvania, and they're not getting it. That's why they're sending the Obamas and the Clintons are both going to be in Philadelphia on the last day of the campaign. That's not the place they want to be. That's major defense. I love Chris Stirewalt's take. This is how much of a hack Chris Stirewalt is. He said, "Oh no, they're just trolling Trump. They're trolling him." So it's like Stirewalt's thinking they're so confident that they're trolling Trump. Now, if you watch Obama and Clinton on the speaking lately, do they look confident? They're freaking out. So that's the kind of ridiculous analysis from Chris Stirewalt that I'm just tired of. And clearly he's in the tank for Clinton. Hello? Anyway, so the thing that puts Trump in contention there is the black vote is being down. And then you have this strike in Philadelphia with the public transportation employees. They're on strike. That's a big problem for getting the vote out in Philadelphia. They've got to get everybody out. And if they have a strike with public transportation, that's not everybody. That's going to cost them some votes. So as of today, I see it for Trump. That could change tomorrow. Just got to keep watching the polls. New Hampshire. Trump's, I think, going to be pretty safe there. Culturally, this is a state that likes Trump. He won it big in the primaries. It's a state that suits him. It fits him. It's more of a Trump-type state. And it was always surprising to me that he was down there. But he's taken what is basically a tie, slight lead in the polls, whatever. Tie, slight lead, definitely advantages Trump. Clinton's all the way down at 42.6. I don't see how she can win it. You got the sample, the shy voter, and the late breaking all going to Trump. He's going to pull out New Hampshire. I don't have him winning by a lot, 2.5 points, because I think there will be a lot of people voting for third parties there, but I do see Trump winning it. Michigan, back to Clinton today. It was in Trump's column yesterday, and that's because of an 0.8 of a percentage point shift in the polls, largely due to public policy polling. Our good friends at this Democratic polling firm, who sometimes produce good polls and sometimes they don't, but they do a good enough job, you should include them. But they really are the ones that put her over the top in Michigan. So that's that for today. In summary, 290 for Trump, 248 for Clinton. Donald Trump is steady right now. He's got a strong 270 electoral votes with the Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, New Hampshire, Iowa, Nevada, and Arizona states. He wins those states, he wins the election. And that's 270 electoral votes. That's including the main two going to Trump, which it will. And then Pennsylvania is just icing on the cake. That's how I see it today. Please like, please subscribe, please share. I'm brand new at this video thing, and I'd love to get some subscribers. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'll do this all over again.